Whatever resources the police need, they will get. Whatever tactics the police feel they need to employ, they will have legal backing to do so. We will do whatever is necessary to restore law and order onto our streets.
I was so proud to see young people out there, especially the ones who were chasing the police. I felt that sense of power that they felt. These are young people who have been disempowered since birth. They've never experienced power. Maybe, I don't know, you might experience power as a young person if you exercise it over your peer. It's not the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Fighting against each other. I'd say to these young people, stop fighting against each other. You do know who the enemy is, as we've seen in the riots, and use this opportunity, or use the riots of 2011 as an opportunity actually to get together and organise and challenge the system in more constructive ways.
First of all, as the person who led the demonstration to Tottenham Police Station on the 6th of August, I can say what I saw there. I can't speak for what happened all over, and I certainly wouldn't even try to say why they rioted in Salford. What I'll say that happened in Tottenham was about the way that the family had been treated. That is the Duggan family, the parents of Mark Duggan, in that the police showed them no respect whatsoever. After killing their son, slaying their son on a street in Tottenham in broad daylight, after sending some family members who turned up to the scene, after sending them on a wild goose chase to chase a helicopter, they said, see that helicopter? Your brother's in there. And when they went and followed this helicopter to hospital, it was the police officer who they had shot in his radio who had gone to hospital. I mean, imagine dealing with people like that when their loved one is laying on the ground there dead, and then not going to the family and telling the family what happened. That's why we went to the police station that day.
What aggravated everyone is the fact that they covered it up, and then when the truth got revealed, they still tried to cover it up. They're trying to take us as idiots, basically.
Where's the taxi driver? Has he even been...
Good point.
The taxi driver ain't even said that.
Also, the fact that the IPCC had put out this information that there'd been a shootout. The community were clear. Everyone over here who knew him and loved him knew that Mark wasn't mad enough or bad enough to come out of a car, allegedly with a gun with one bullet in it, to shoot after 31 armed officers. Everybody knew that was madness, so that's why we went to the police station. And the eruption came because even when we went to the police station, on a peaceful demonstration with lots of women and children there, even when we went there, the police disrespected us, didn't treat us with the dignity that we should have been treated with, and certainly didn't give us any answers. But what lay all behind that is economic and social reasons.
The main causes behind the riots, I think there's too many, but I would, if I was to sort of summarise it, general widespread anger towards the police, as we saw in some of the YouTube videos, the pleasure that some of the young people got, when the tables were turned, when it was their turn to chase police, as opposed to the other way. And definitely frustrations about what's going on economically and the lack of opportunities for young people. And I think the general disrespect, although it's not only young people who are involved in the riots, but there were large numbers of young people, just the general disrespect that they experience from wider society, from politicians, from lawmakers, from the police, and a lot of the time from their parents, their own parents, the elder generation.
People are angry at the police because the police are the ones harassing them on a daily basis.
They'll be driving past you and everyone in the car or the bully van or whatever it is, they're just staring at you.
Stare at you when you're walking down the
As if you're
street.
some criminal or something like that.
Like in a day, you know, I'll be stopped like about 3 times for the day.
Many times I got involved to say, no, I saw everything, you know, like that person wasn't doing nothing and all that, and then they try to arrest me. Just because I never wanted to give my name, they try to put me in handcuff, and one of them tried to headbutt me. And then they put me in a car, and then they're saying, oh, what, you're part of a gang. But you can see I got my college books and everything in my bag. Like, come on, let's come out of college.
Harassment, intimidation, humiliation. From when you're a little kid, it's happening to you. I've seen it happen to old men, I've seen it happen to little kids. And it's something that the people I work with who aren't from poor areas, they just don't understand. They don't even believe you. And you say, you've seen a boy getting choked up against the wall and he's only 13, and being terrorised by the police and being humiliated, which is the biggest thing.
But how do you feel about being searched for knocking on the door?
I feel like an animal. I feel like I'm being thrown against the wall and told to empty my pockets.
Yeah?
This is like a legit gang.
How often do you get stopped and searched?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Hey, just for the record, it's being noted in my pullover paper basically that I refused the search, which I didn't. If I refused the search, would I be in the police van by now?
Have you been searched? Have you been searched? Correct. Have you been searched? You would, because
I can't really go into.
From the job centre.
Yeah.
Trying to get jobs.
You're trying to get jobs?
And look, you come out of the job centre and get harassed.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys straight out, do you have anything illegal on you? No. You've just been searched. And how often does that happen?
All the time.
Really?
They must feel really silly sometimes, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, mate, for wasting your time.
Yeah. Can I ask a controversial question? Do you think you get searched more than white people the same age?
Well, yeah. I don't know. Definitely. To be honest, if I saw someone, if we was walking down and there's three white guys.
This is the first time we met him.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time he stopped us for absolutely nothing.
Failure to differentiate between statute and the law is gross negligence, which is equivalent to fraud.
Take it up with your own food.
I don't need to pick up with my own. I just want to pick up
Basically, obviously, they're trying to make a quick exit without giving all their 3 numbers because they're pagans, innit? You get me? So, end of the night, you know what pagans
I've got them, it's cool.
No way, innit? It's cool, innit? Hey, good luck, yeah, man, them. Good luck, because obviously you're going to need it. See the next week. Woo! It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. V for Vendetta.
I feel like we're being treated like big time criminals, and I think it's that suppressing people and not making them feel normal. Because every time you get stopped and searched, it imprints in you even more. That's what you're supposed to be.
It's a lot of different dynamics that have gone towards the riots, but I do feel that it really is lack of opportunity, of hope, and really at the youth looking at their future and not seeing much hope in it. As you know, when we were growing up, we had things like youth centres, adventure playgrounds, and all kind of positive initiatives to keep one busy. And now what we've done is just left the youths to grow on these council estates and given them very little to do or aspire to do. And of course, a lot of the grants and funding, which were statutory, have now been rescinded.
There were 6 young black men died in police custody within the year. I think it was 7 within another week of the riots without any repercussions. You had cuts in funding, you had removal of youth provisions, you have the feeling amongst the youth that there is no place for them in this society anymore, that there is no future, there is no housing, there is no jobs, there is no education. So you have a very combustible demographic within a society that feel that they're under attack, and it's inevitable that they're going to spark. I mean, the key question I think is not why did it happen, but why did it not happen soon?
My name's Ken Farr, I'm a director, and with Tariq Mahmood and a collective of people, we made a film called Injustice, which is about the struggles for justice by people whose loved ones have been killed, died in police custody. People use that phrase, we say murdered, killed.
We shouldn't have to beg and demand to be heard. We will not be forgotten. They kill our loved ones, it takes us long enough to be able to bury them, and then they want us to put them to rest and go away. I'm here today to tell you that we will never, ever go away. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, my brother and others out there are going to be no less dead. And we, the family that survive, never, ever going to go away. To date, there is no police officer that has been brought to book for a death in custody. That if an incident happens, they're secure and safe in the knowledge that A, they won't get suspended, they won't lose any pay, there is no disciplinary action, and they have a licence to kill and walk.
I think the death of Mark Duggan was a spark, but there have been lots of deaths, so there could have been lots of sparks. Why it happened at that time, we don't know. It could happen any time. There's a constant oppression, there's a constant brutality on people, and there's a constant resistance as well. And it's just at times that resistance explodes. So nobody can put their finger, I don't think, on what caused it. We can look at the primary causes in terms of Mark Duggan and the general situation in the area and in other areas. But I think it could have happened any time, and I think it will again.
Of course, the youths do know about these things. They do watch and they do observe, but they've also learned that Uncle Frank has been marching, and so has Grandad for many years, and nothing much has come of it. So they don't see a standard protest as their means.
I think also that another reason why the looting and rioting went so widespread was because the police didn't actually engage with young people. I don't know what happened in some of those other areas, but in Tottenham I just see the police stand back. I saw the police adopt a policy of let's just lead them to it. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
By the time I got there, the car was just starting to burn, and it was right in the middle of the high road. I don't know how it got up there, why it had been left there. And as it was burning, there was a second car that had had its windows smashed. People pushed that out into the middle of the road and then set fire to that. It probably took 15 minutes, and then pushing it out into the road to it finally catching light.
So then there were 2 police cars burning, and still the police were doing nothing. I said to my son at the time, why didn't the police just drive their cars away? Why did they just abandon them open in the middle of the road? The fire station, again, is like just under the bridge over there, 100 yards up the road. They could have almost run a hose from there and put the fire out. And I really don't understand why that didn't happen.
When I came out at 10:30, this was, the fires were raging. There was no rioters, looters, only people with cameras taking photographs. There were several fire engines going up towards the fire, but the police did not let them through to out the fires.
They could have easily come out. There was a few, like I say, there was people hanging around. But if a fire engine had come out, they would have made way for it, you know.
Now, to me, that was a let it burn policy. Whether to show that they needed more police or because it's Tottenham, let it burn. But the thing they didn't bank on was that as fire do, it attracts moths. They didn't expect the moths to be all throughout the country. Right?
I got back to Tottenham at around 12 o'clock. The first thing I noticed was there was loads of people on the street. Like, you're not used to seeing that many people out in Tottenham at 12 o'clock. I didn't see any rain yet. It was just people in general just out and about. There was loads of Turkish boys, there was loads of Somalians, Africans, Jamaicans, white guys, Irish guys, Polish. It was like the whole of Tottenham was out. I see grandmas, I see granddads, I saw like little kids. It was kind of like a party, like a carnival kind of atmosphere. It was a bit strange.
The atmosphere is crazy. It's like being in a football match, you know. Everyone cheering, chanting, no justice, no peace. rest in peace, Mark Duggan. The people that were holding it off were the people that were there from the start till, I say, 3, 4 in the morning. So I respect that. Tottenham stood up, dropped whatever problems they had with other people in the neighbourhoods and all that, and became as one.
Then some people started to try and break into William Hill's on the corner. And I think the solicitors next door as well. I heard afterwards that was the police solicitors.
From what I saw, I couldn't account for every shop that's been broken into and the reasons behind it, but I definitely see a lot of people saying no, don't smash that shop, smash that one. Do you know what I mean? And people actually, boys actually saying, no, you're not going to break into that one. If you want to smash a shop, smash that one.
Yeah, obviously there was looting, but I saw a woman with a big packet of toilet roll. You know, she was really happy she got this toilet roll. And you know, this is a poor area, Tottenham. A lot of the smaller shops here weren't touched.
When the first riots actually broke out in Tottenham, the media coverage for the first few days, they were just showing people looting shops, and it looked easy. It looked way too easy. People were just walking in and out of sports shops, carrying loads and loads of bags. Everyone's seen the images. And to me, the media, I don't know why they kept showing that over and over again, because it sort of sent out the message that you can do this. The police, they've lost control. They're not going to stop you, so feel free to smash a window and help yourself to things. And I think that's what really made it worse. The media kind of just kept replaying the same images and just made people think, oh, you know, let's give it a go. Because a lot of people that were here, there's people that I spoke to, they didn't really know why they were here. They were just here to sort of see what would happen. A lot of people, you know, if they see something, if they see an open shop in front of them, they might be tempted to walk into there.
The police created an environment by the way that they dealt with the family and the way they responded to the protesters, by the way they just left the high road to be ransacked in the way that it was. They're the ones that created that opportunity. So for people to now come and say, oh well, it was all about materialism, is again for people to try and undermine and not accept what we're saying about the economic and social factors that made these young people feel compelled to act the way they did.
Let me first of all completely condemn the scenes that we have seen on our television screens and people have witnessed in their communities. These are sickening scenes, scenes of people looting, vandalising, thieving, robbing, scenes of people attacking police officers and even attacking fire crews as they're trying to put out fires. This is criminality, pure and simple, and it has to be confronted and defeated. Picture by picture, these criminals are being identified and arrested, and we will not let any phony concerns about human rights get in the way of the publication of these pictures and the arrest of these individuals. This continued violence is simply not acceptable, and it will be stopped. We will not put up with this in our country. We will not allow a culture of fear to exist on our streets. Because this is Britain. This is a great country of good people. Those thugs we saw last week don't represent us, and they don't represent the young people in our country either, and they will not drag us down. Let's be clear. These riots were not about race. The perpetrators and the victims were white, black and Asian. These riots were not about government cuts. They were directed at high street stores, not at Parliament. And these riots were not about poverty. That would insult the millions of people who, whatever the hardship, would never dream of making others suffer like this. No, this was about behaviour. People showing indifference to right and wrong. People with a twisted moral code. People with a complete absence of self-restraint.
Well, we talk to people because we actually work with young people in this area. We're sitting in Tottenham now, and it's just down the road where the uprising started. And we asked them, what is this about? And some of them said, well, for our whole lives, all we've been shown is lots of pictures on television about phones and shoes and get this and get this and get this. So we took it. we took it. So that's why some of them did it, because they were told, this is your dream, live your dream. And they can't get a job, they can't get money, so they took it, and they took it in the same way that MPs took televisions on their expenses in House of Commons.
You know, people who say that the rights were just about materialism, and you know, as if the use are in a vacuum and it's just a material work. That's one aspect of it, but don't forget about the frustration. And what we've also found is it wasn't just young people. I think a 71-year-old man was arrested for trying to steal a TV or a pair of pants or whatever it was. And I think this is where the danger comes in when people try and say it was only about the use of into materialism. Most of us who live in the Western world we embrace some form of materialism. You tell me, how do we escape from it? So to act like this is just something that impacts young people is dangerous, it's disingenuous, and it's just another tactic by the government to deflect and distract. It's a distraction. Because then if we start thinking, oh, well, all the use of materialistic, and that's what our major problem is, and we don't look at the underlying causes. How many redundancies announced today? How many youths are unemployed now? 1 million, they say. Therefore, we know it's probably 1.5 million, because we know they like to make statistics. So I think that when people try to use materialism and just act like only our young people suffer from that, that's a problem.
Anybody who watches those videos and sees the plasma screens going down the street can see that there is this, and it is a major product of this. But is it the youth that have this materialism, or is it everybody in society? The key difference between the rest of society and the youth is that the youth can't afford it, so we'll take.
We have to rebuke the forces that feed this to our youth, and the media, and the sustained toxic information data that we feed our youth day to day, which is basically get what you can when you can. And I feel that our government echo this in their national policies, society echoes this, corporate companies echo this, and the youths are just watching society and doing exactly what we do. And they have been taught this, and children were not born with flat screen TVs in mind, or bling bling, or night trainers. These things are taught to them, and as such we must take responsibility as society for the condition of our youth.
I think it's very rich to criticise the use of consumerism when they live in a world where you have the virtual world of the internet, where any search they make for any product they desire will follow them around constantly, like an invisible salesman stalking them, telling them, buy this, you want this, you want this, you want this. You don't have the means to buy what you're going to do. If you're constantly followed by your desires without the ability to attain what you desire, you will take when the moment is offered to you. And that's not a abstract point, that's an accepted point within the whole systems of thought that the West operate on. Rational self-interest. Take it back to Plato, you've got him talking about the ring of Gyges, that if you had the ability to turn yourself invisible, you'd steal anything you can, right? Young people are not acting on anything different to any other person in the society. They just can't, they have no ability to attain what they desire, and they're constantly being followed by their desires. In that situation, it's inevitable what we see.
Similarities, I think, between the previous riots in Brixton and the recent riots that stemmed from Tottenham, I think, was mainly the people of Brixton felt very much aggrieved, whereas this was a nationwide response to quite a few different frustrations. The youth actually spoke out and expressed their frustration, their disillusionment with the system, with government, with lack of funding, opportunity and progress. Whereas I think the previous riots in Brixton was slightly more localised to stop and search and race relations. So I just think it's a little bit more kind of expansive, this more recent riot.